Good afternoon. Welcome to Smart Trucking Live. How y'all doing out there today? It's a lovely, lovely day in the neighborhood. It's still just got kind of a mild winter going for January up here in Canada. Really weird for us, but I'm liking it. I'm gonna say hello to the people here. Andy with an I. Hello, Andy. Kelly Patterson. Hello. Robert Daniel. Hello. Grilled Mortal. What's the 20 on the jackknife bobtail? Grilled Mortal. Glad you could join us. Igor from Brazil. I had to look up the capital. I thought it was Rio de Janeiro there, Igor, but it was. So I don't know how close you are to Rio or whether you're way back in the woods back there. Shannon is here. Good to see you, Shannon. Thanks for being able to join us. We appreciate it. Who else have we got? The Container Guru. Hello, gang. Hello, Container Guru. Glad to see you. Flight 000. Hello from Detroit. Alfonso Torres, West Virginia 379, down in Morgantown, West Virginia. Hello from Los Angeles. That's Alfonso Torres in LA. Michael Martin says hi. Scott Kuhn. Hello from Illinois. Roger Penske. Hey, Roger, how are you?
He's recovering from knee surgery.
Roger Penske is?
No, Nick is.
Oh, I didn't know Nick or Roger had knee surgery. Cassius Puckett, hello, Cassius. W.O. Jackson.
Let's scroll down a little bit here.
Yep, it just jumped on me. I don't know where everybody just went.
Yet.
Robert Armstrong, Trucker Hershey is here. Kevin, Milan Roar, James Sandman. Excellent. Little Mike, hello, Little Mike. All sorts of people rolling in. That's good to see. James Crosby, hello from PA. Murat Virokaya from Turkey. Well, that's a trip and a half from here. Hello to you. Hello to you, Murat. Michael Mueller is here. Stuck in traffic on 40 in North Carolina with my brand new 389 8-speed manual. Boy, it's been a while since I've seen one of those. So that's got to be a remake. That's got to be a whole new transmission setup. I haven't seen one of the new 8-speeds. Didn't know there was such a thing. You got to let me know how you like that. The old ones were okay. They shifted in kind of like a U pattern, and the top hole was a big jump. I remember that. But way to go! Hope you're enjoying the new ride. Michael Mitrovic from Calgary, Alberta. Hello, Michael. What do you guys got going on? Poe says hi from Tennessee. Hi, Poe.
Did you see Alexandro Campos? Thanks for posting your vids. I've been watching for years and just got my own truck yesterday.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a big step. Thank you for joining us. Getting your own truck is a big, big deal. Hi from England. SW Mike Trucking. There's another jump and a half across the pond. OTR Ogre and Corgi. Turn up your volume a little. The cell phone is full blast and you're quiet.
Oh,
Can't help it. Can't help it.
where's Mike is?
Oh, well, look where the mic is. It is me.
Dave.
Yes, Dave, it's my mic is in the wrong place. Bet you that sounds better. That was my fault. Actually, I'm not the engineer. It's not my fault.
Earth to Dave. Earth to Dave. Do you read us?
That's your mic. We should have it.
Yeah. All my help here, my technology help. What?
Don't hurt yourself.
It's good living the ride, just wired, having 20 miles an hour and only in fifth. That's for Michael in the new 8-speed with the 389. Huh. I'd like to take a spin in that thing. Installing a TV in my 2015 579. Hardway Miller. Yeah, it's nice to have a TV. It is. Peace Reaper. Sounds a lot better now. Yeah. Turns out that was my fault. What can I tell you? I'm not an electronics guy.
You don't need to know much about electronics. Whether to have it 10 feet from you or 10 inches.
Probably helps to have the microphone in front of my face. I'll grant you that. Yeah, Igor says it's a lot better now. Oh, now I've blown his speakers, little Mike. Sorry, little Mike. uh, Everybody, Daniel Merritt says you can hear me, so we're in good shape. Mark DuPont, hi from the big smoke. So what I thought we'd talk about today are some of the changes that are going to come around in this next year in trucking, because, well, a lot of the changes are going to be due to the new guy in the White House. So you know right away that there are going to be some changes, because every time they change parties, the party that gets in tries to change what the last party accomplished. So they try to undo what that party did, and I don't doubt that won't be the case this time around. Probably the biggest thing that we'll see change is, I'm betting you guys dimes to donuts that they want to change the hours of service again. And this is just becoming like a never-ending deal. These hours of service, they just can't pick something and stick with it. And I just don't know why they can't just decide and just stick even with the ones you got now, but build some common sense flexibility into it. Would that be so tough to do? Not at all, but they got so many interest groups putting their 2 cents worth in that it's just become a farce. So I hope they don't mess with the hours of service other than to add some flexibility to them. But that's just not the way life goes anymore these days. Common sense is out the window. Something else I think we'll see in the upcoming year are higher insurance rates. Now, with the Democrats getting in, a lot of people in that party have been pushing to up the minimum insurance coverage that a carrier or a truck needs to carry. And they want to push it to $2 million per truck, and that's going to hurt the pocketbooks of an awful lot of the smaller guys. I imagine that we'll see it. I'm not in favor of it, but insurance industry, it's a big industry. That means big money. That means big political sway. So I imagine we'll see that. I'm sorry we'll see that, but I'll bet you that we do. Shanna says 90 mile an hour winds in Wyoming. I heard they were going to get a blow. Wow, that's not good. Something else I think we'll see in the trucking industry in the upcoming years is Biden's a green guy. The Democrats are green guys. So there'll be more of a push towards green technology and electric trucks and that type of thing. That'll be part of their mandate, is to push more of the green energy agenda onto the trucking industry, which, it sounds great in theory, but if you don't have technology that works in that area, it just leaves you stumbling around. And the trucking industry hasn't got that technology that's developed yet. We talked about that last week with the DEF system and the fluid and stuff like that. They haven't improved on the technology enough that we can go green. We'd like to go green if we could, but it's not a practical solution yet anyway. Something else that I'm really afraid that we'll see, and you guys feel free to jump in on any of this at all, is there is also a big push for speed limiters to come into being in the U.S., be mandated in the States for all trucks. Now, most of the big carriers down there already have their trucks governed, but what they're pushing for now is owner-operators, independents, everyone to have a set governed speed of 65 miles an hour or 66 miles an hour. We have that up here in a couple provinces. It's been a terrible thing. It doesn't work well. It just plugs traffic up. So I really hope that doesn't come to be in the States. But
did you read the comment by Michael Mueller? The
no.
OOIDA, head of the OOIDA, is applying
No, I didn't see
to
that.
the FMCSA?
No. Can you find it for me? I didn't see that. I'd like to comment on that. No, I can't find it here. Oh, here it is. The head of the OOIDA is applying to be head of the FMCSA. So Spencer? I forget his first name. but is applying to be head of the FMCSA. He'd be the only one at the FMCSA that knows anything about trucking. I hope he gets the job. He certainly is qualified. He's more qualified than anybody else. So I do hope he gets it. Todd Spencer. Todd's his name. I hadn't heard that. That's really interesting. That would just make too much sense. So I can't see him getting it on that basis alone. But that would be a good thing for the trucking industry. At least we'd have somebody that understood the trucking industry in the FMCSA. But well, I was talking about. Oh, sorry.
Keep going.
I was talking about speed limiters. So, as I said, we have those here in a couple provinces, and they haven't worked well for drivers. It's annoying to drive a truck with one of those. So I hope it doesn't happen in the States. I see it counterproductive.
Jonathan Mestro coming in with a $5 donation. Thank you very much for that, my friend. Just wanted to let everyone know that Dave's audiobook is awesome. Got several hours of laughs and entertainment while driving. Great job, Dave, Kathy, and Nick. Well, thank you very much for that, Jonathan. And, hey, what better time to plug our audiobook other than now after a wonderful review.
Jonathan, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Glad you're enjoying it. We had fun making it, I'll tell you that. But thanks. I appreciate it.
So where can they find this book, Dave?
If anyone would like a copy of the audiobook, and I highly recommend it, it's in the description below, in the description box. Check it out and pick yourself up a copy. You'll have a laugh or two. And
because Dave doesn't know terminology, we'll put link in the chat for you guys as well if you want to go check that out. It's on Podia for $37. So if you guys want to pick that up, be sure to do so.
Yes, hope you do.
It's 5 hours of trucker stories recorded by Dave, for those who don't know. And we do have a couple bonus episodes in there from the Lettuce King as well. So if you guys want to listen to that, be sure to do so.
Yep. Yeah, there's some good stories in there. A few of them from the Lettuce King and myself. So, where was I? I was complaining about speed limiters, but I do see that they're really going to push speed limiters on the trucking industry in 2021. Hope it doesn't happen, but politics. What else? I understand. I've read that they're going to also push this sleep apnea thing harder, sleep apnea testing. They're going to want to mandate that and make it mandatory, set a set of rules and restrictions for doing sleep apnea testing. And it's just another money grab thing. But, I understand the safety aspect of it. I don't think nearly as many drivers suffer from sleep apnea as what they like to let on and make us believe. But just another way to make money off the truck driver. That's my view on sleep apnea testing. I don't know if you follow this Proposition 22 that's passed in California, and it's connected to that AB5 movement about trying to make truck drivers either employees or not. I mean, get a clear-cut case of who's an owner-operator, who's an employee. But anyway, they snuck in this Proposition 22. And the moment they did that, and it was a waiver to allow grocery chains not to require drivers as employees. And the moment they did that, this huge grocery chain, Albertsons, and you guys will be familiar with them, fired all their company drivers, over 1,000 guys, and hired like a contractor service to do their grocery deliveries for them. And it's saving Albertsons all sorts of money, and over 1,000 guys now are out of a job because it's cheaper for Albertsons to pay contractors that don't get any benefits or anything like that than it is to pay an employee. And that's the whole argument behind this AB5 too, because the trucking companies don't want to have to be held to the fire to pay their drivers like employees. They want to be able to skim them here and there, and that's, it's just a mess out there. But I'm sure we'll hear more about this Proposition AB5 in California this year, so that'll come. And I'm sorry to see what they've done to those guys at Albertsons. What a dirty trick that is. And like Albertsons needs to save money, get rid of 1,000 of their employees. Some of them have been there for years. Shameful. But and there's a grocery chain up here doing the same darn thing. So it's not just Albertsons. The grocery business is a dirty business. That's why I never like delivering to grocery warehouses. Those are the guys with the lumpers always. It's always one scam or another. I better get off of that. Something else that we'll see, speaking of Canada and the grocery chains.
All right, before you get on a roll here, Dave, just wanted to mention GP Transco's comment. Just one of our drivers is about to publish a book here shortly. It's about her over-the-road experience over the last couple of years. I also found they had a driver that was a lawyer for 16 years and a military man before that.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we'll have to grab a copy of that book. Well, I want to have a read of that.
Okay, next topic.
So, Canada is finally mandating ELDs in June of this year. So that should be exciting and interesting. So I'm looking forward to that schmozzle. And of course they got to do it a little differently in Canada than they do in the States. It's just always that way up here. They got to do things a wee bit differently just to be different, but we'll see how that all turns out. Luckily that won't affect me in the truck, because the Peterbilt and I only go about 25 or 50 miles on a trip now just for a joyride. We won't be outside of that 100-mile radius, so we can still use paper books. But everybody over that is going to have to go to an electronic log with a third party patrolling the logs that are coming in, so to prevent cheating, to catch the cheating. So what's going on with you guys? I bet the mega carriers are enjoying the small companies struggling during the COVID-19. Like Swift Night can buy them out now. More Swift Night money for them, less money for the driver. Daniel Meredith. There probably is some of that happening. This COVID-19 has changed the face of trucking. I think we'll see it slacken in 2021, and the economy will get back up on its feet and running again. But some things like that, like Daniel says, will have changed because of it. GP Transco says, we'll let you know when our 2 Tesla semis come in, because they've invited me down to drive one, and I'm hot to do it. Us. Yes, I'm sorry. Us. Yes. Yes, they've invited Kathy and I down to test drive them. So Kathy says, not you. She says that to Nick. Oh. Anyway, JB Hunt holding up the nation's traffic. What else here have we got? Yeah, here's Kelly. So much for company loyalty. It's a one-way street. That's true, and that's really sad. And there is not too much company loyalty anymore with these great big companies. And it's not just in trucking. They just eat them up and spin them out. The auto manufacturers have been guilty of that in the last number of years. Guys that have worked on the line at GM and Ford and stuff like that in Detroit, all of a sudden they just get laid off. They shut down a line, or they close the whole plant like they did in Flint. Not a whole lot of company loyalty anymore in a lot of places. Yeah, here's James Crosby says, sleep apnea BS will just shorten the driver pool. That's right. That's true. It will. And I forget which carrier it was. I think Stevens. It was Stevens out of Texas that was using it as just a money pool. Everyone that they tested had sleep apnea, and for $5,000 they could fix it for them and hook them up with a machine. It was a real scam they had going. I don't know if they did away with that or not, but it was quite the money maker for Stevens.
Take a breath, Dave.
Okay.
I have an announcement to make. The Lettuce King is in the room.
He's in the room? He's in the house. Lettuce King. Lettuce King, welcome, driver. How are you? Gotta find you here in the scroll. And Fred Besmer. Fred, how are you doing? Fred says you want to take the GP Transco Tesla to the Rodeo Camion up here. It's the big truck pull up here
That I'm going to
with the loaded sets of B trains
Yep.
that Kathy's going to
Me and the Lettuce King are going.
without me. I think Fred said he'd take you.
Yeah,
too.
me, Fred, and
The Lettuce King
the Lettuce King
are going to the
are going to the truck pulls.
Rodeo Camion. Well, let me know how it is.
Yeah, we will.
Jonathan, thank you for another 5. He says, let me know if you guys go to GPHQ. I'd love for you to stop by in the terminal and say hi.
Jonathan, we'll be there, man. I want to see these things. I'll be the only Canadian guy to get to test drive one, so for the foreseeable future. So I'm in. I am in. I was going to say it's a good excuse to go to Morris and have a meal at our place at the truck stop there, but that's closed, I heard.
Yes, I did hear that.
Yeah, I'm really sad about that. That was a great restaurant.
Here's a comment. I was always under the impression that the Lettuce King was already in the grave.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Oh, no. No, he's not.
Not
He's here today.
Not even close to that. I'm closer to the grave than he is.
Daniel Meredith asks if I drive and how long I've been driving, and have you guys been driving team? No, I'm not an official driver. The Lettuce King taught me to drive, so I won't say any more.
Yeah, she's an unofficial driver. We used to go on the occasional trip, but not so much anymore. But where is the Lettuce King here? There he is.
There he is.
Me and Dave can have our drag race in Notre Dame. Jesus.
Did you tell them about the drag race in the spring?
Yes, I should explain what he's talking about there. The Lettuce King and I are trying to plan a drag race between our two trucks as soon as the roads dry out in the spring, but I don't know about the Lettuce King. I'd be afraid to hook my old girl up to a set of loaded B trains like that. I'd probably break something.
Grilled Mortal said, who dug him up?
Who what?
Who dug up the Lettuce
Who dug
King?
up the Lettuce King? Man, they're just all over you here. They're just all over you. Where are you, Lettuce King? I'd like to know that.
He says he does feel like he's in the grave some days.
Well, I hope not today. I don't know if he's over at Stretch's place working or what's he doing?
He's building a new truck.
At Stretch's place?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Cool. This Stretch guy builds really cool customs trucks too, so the Lettuce King's been over helping him apparently.
Brian Lester wants to know, what about someone who's been a trucker all his life but made a few mistakes around 10 years ago, but still can't find a good driving job except for a mega carrier that pays BS?
Huh.
It's a way back in.
Yeah. That's a tough deal. You kind of got to take what you can get right now until you can reestablish yourself, I guess. But yeah, I know what you're saying. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Trucking's like that. Yeah, Trucker Hershey says he was at our place a few days ago and it was closed. That's one of the great restaurants on the interstate. I left the industry back in '99 and went to work in the shipyard. I retired in October with a small union pension, came back out here last week. So many changes. Yeah, it's David Rollins. It's a whole lot more complicated than it used to be now, isn't it, David? It'll take some getting used to. Kelly Patterson says we're using an Ouija board. I haven't played with one of those since I was a kid. They were fun.
Obesity and high blood pressure, sleep apnea can all be reversed with an all-meat diet.
I'm with you. An
Boy.
all-meat diet?
There you go. You
I'm-
should be cured then.
Yeah, see, I have no issues then.
You should be cured.
I'm into an all-meat diet. I never
That's what you follow.
been big on vegetables. So I should be all right. Good to know. I feel better already. Not quite a super sleeper, just a bigger sleeper with a motorcycle rack on the back. I've seen guys with setups like that. What was that? What was that crackpot out of the Northeast that used to drag his motorcycle around? Oh, I can't think of his name anymore.
Okay, back on topic.
Long gone now. So anyway, 2021 is going to be an interesting year for rules, all sorts of things coming down the pike. Diesel fuel, I see, is steadily climbing back up again, which is, a disappointment. The cost of everything will go up in 2021. I read a statistic the other day that the truck shops, made more money in 2020 than they ever have in past years. And a lot of it'll be because of these emission trucks breaking down all the time. But the shops are doing really well. But so the cost of maintaining the truck is going up. The cost of fueling the truck is going up. The cost of insurance is definitely going to go up. So we've got to start making more money to compensate for all of those things. Simple as that. Nothing's going to get cheaper.
Perhaps I could pose the question to GP Transco in the chat and to see if they have anything to say on today's topic, how they see things changing
Yes,
in the trucking industry.
They'll have a good perspective, a good question, a good outfit to ask. Be curious to know how they see it playing out in 2021 for everybody.
Yes, Trucker Hershey has mentioned how tow trucks make money too.
I think
Yes.
I've told the story about the guy I met in Idaho that had bought the great big tow truck, and he was making money hand over fist. He said best investment he ever made in his life. He said he paid for it in a year, and it was something like a $300,000 tow truck. Paid for it in a year. But yeah, there's money in tow trucks if you're towing big rigs. Even the price of down is up. Kelly Patterson. Yes it is. Cost of roller wieners on the rise as well. West Virginia $3.79. Dave, how did you handle the passion of trucking and being a family man? I'm struggling. I love both. I don't want to do local or regular. How I handled it was not very well, to tell you the truth. I spent far too much time on the road and not nearly enough time with my family. And that's why Nick doesn't recognize me now, for instance, when I come in the room. But that was a big mistake I made. And I just, I was always working because I was always afraid of where the next dollar would come from. But if I had it to do over again, I wouldn't do over the road over again. I'd do something else. That was a big mistake I made.
If you live near a Swift terminal, buy a tow truck.
If you live near any mega carrier, buy a tow truck. I have given notice to the Arizona DOT that I am postponing my medical recertification until next week to avoid any medical drugs from tainting my research certifying. And they've basically, Roger, set that whole process back for everyone, have they not? I believe that's what I've been hearing, that the expiry date means nothing now because this COVID has thrown that whole thing out the window. So there's leniency when it comes to certain qualifications for your license now because of this COVID thing.
On topic.
Scania seems to be handling the emissions standards in its engines well, at least here in Brazil. Igor.
See what the
Well, that's good to
listing
know.
said?
Maybe they could
Does Nick know the mailman?
maybe they could send some of their technology north here because we're Igor, we're still having a hell of a time with it. It's not working well for us. It's better than it was, but we got a long way to go to make it so it's reliable, basically.
Robert Armstrong, thank you for the 4, my friend.
Robert, thank you. I appreciate it. We all do. We appreciate it. I have a CDL permit since everything is closed due to COVID-19. What options will I have when things get open? If you've got the permit now, the world is your oyster when things open back up, Kobe. Be able to do whatever you want if you've got the certificate. My children know I love them regardless. I don't know if they believe that or not. I'd like to think so, but some days I wonder. Trucking is the main reason I'm divorced and could not handle me gone so much. Could not come home with me and the kids of the other marriage. Yeah, it's Kelly Patterson. Trucking is hard on your marriage. It's hard on everything. That's one thing actually that is the face of trucking in 2021 is changing towards more short haul stuff, more family at home time, less over the road work. Because it's becoming a problem. Guys are realizing that they're not getting home enough and they're not going into over-the-road trucking. Carriers are recognizing this and shortening their routes and trying to get into shorter cycles for hauling freight. And that's a good thing for everybody.
Wildbeard Trucking coming in with a 20. Thank you very much for that, my friend. Hope you're enjoying the stream thus far.
Wild Beard Trucking, I watched something you did just the other day about what you didn't like about your Kenworth. Good video. Good video. I like your truck, so I hope it's working out well for you. Kenworth makes a good truck. And I hear you about the salesman part too that you said, so nope, I heard that all day. Stay safe out there, Wildbeard.
Wildbeard says he appreciates y'all's work.
Thank you. We appreciate your watching. Thank you very much.
And Kelly Patterson coming in with the $10 as well. Thank you guys very much for the donations this afternoon.
Kelly, thank you. Thank you. Like a GP Transco knows Wildbeard Trucking. They go, hey. GP Transco recognizes them. There is SoCal Sandman, just in time. One reason I left a dedicated route, I always know when I'll be home. One reason I run a dedicated route is I always know when I'll be home. And yeah, there's a huge advantage in that. I never worked for like a big carrier that had dedicated routes, but I always thought that would be the way to go. I would like to know where I'm going to be and when I'm going to be there. I think that would have been better. I would like to have done that.
Dedicated route.
For who? Oh, well, yeah, but their dedicated route was before the logbooks and everything, and that was like 24/7, 7 days a week. You know that as well as I do. It was a dedicated route that never stopped. That was air freight, by the way. SoCal Sandman. That was air freight up here, but man, we just ran like dogs back then.
What else is changing in Quebec? Or 2021?
What else is going to change? I'm hoping that the trucks, the quality of the builds improve in trucking, because actually the quality of the emissions equipment working. California will continue to push forward with their emission standards to the point where they're not going to, I believe it's 2030 that they don't even want to see diesel engines in the state anymore. So I can't see that being realistic, but that won't stop California from wanting it. So the trucks are going to have to get a whole lot better because they're going to go electric in California within 10 years if their mandate holds. So that'll be interesting. We'll see electric trucks in California running up and down if in fact it comes to be, and that alone in itself should be interesting, especially up in Northern California where it snows. So that it'll be fun to watch those guys in the snow in those electric trucks first year. We'll learn a whole lot by watching those guys. That'll be entertainment on the hoof, boys and girls. You want to be filming that stuff. I feel like the only way to make more money OTR besides being an owner is to do team or being a couple. Yeah, Daniel, it's tough making it. Over the road doesn't pay as much as it should. Now, in 2021, I see the mega carriers starting to hurt because they just can't get drivers. And I think they're going to have to improve over the road pay to attract anyone, because more and more people are getting away from it. And the reason, part of that is because of the mega carriers paying so poorly and keeping their guys away from home so long. Guys are dropping out of that lane and going for stuff that's better paying and gets them home more often. And the over-the-road pay is going to have to go up because drivers are dropping away from that by the thousands. And the mega carriers are hurting, and they're seeing it now. They're talking about changing this 30-minute break again in 2021 as well. That's part of what the hours of service review is that they're going to do. Apparently, certain safety groups aren't happy with the way that 30-minute break works. So apparently, we're going to see changes in that, is what I've been hearing too. So not that I think that that's a big thing, but sometimes they'll argue over anything, which seems to be the case. The only way electric trucks will work anywhere is if it's a day cab. And certainly, I read that UPS is going to jump on that electric truck bandwagon. And I think electric trucks would be fine for, their inner city delivery work that they do. There's a place for those things, I'm sure. But not with over the road, not yet anyway. Daniel Maris says, I'm hoping that it will change the way that most way stations that are closed or the rest areas are closed will open up for drivers to stop and rest. They've got to improve the parking in 2021. That's a necessity. There just aren't enough safe places to park. And this winter may be rough because if these truck stops are closed due to this pandemic, they don't plow their parking lots. There's even more parking that's going to become unavailable to drivers. So,
Dave, due to inflation, they're going to have to increase OTR pay because what we've seen will end up being at least a 30 to 40% loss in the dollar.
Yes, they're going to have to increase it or no one's going to do it. And it brings a smile to my face to see these mega carriers being squeezed because they can't get drivers, but I'm loving it. It was just a matter of time. I think it's going to start this year.
Ramon Rivera, Secretary of DOT, has resigned.
Yeah, she was going to have to resign anyway in the next couple of weeks because of the change in presidents. But so she was just jumping the gun. She used the excuse that the Washington riots made her bow out, but she was out of a job in a couple of weeks anyway. So this new guy that they're bringing in is a big infrastructure guy, meaning he wants to repair the interstates and the roads, and I'm all for that. So there is something we'll see change in 2021 if this guy gets his way, and that'll be a good thing because some of the interstates have become just awful. Some of the states like Pennsylvania now are just a nightmare to drive in. So any work on the interstates would be a good thing. It's beating the hell out of the trucks. Part of the reason the trucks are breaking down is because the roads are so rough.
Interesting. Trucker Hershey, I see companies advertising starting pay at 55 and 60 cents a mile. Companies better keep up. And that was my prediction for this year.
Yes.
So those of you who are still driving, I think there's going to be good days ahead this year.
Yeah, and remember that this is coming. So you've got to leverage your position. If you're an experienced driver in this market, don't be afraid to ask for more money now because they need you. And recognize that fact. You've got to make sure that they're paying you what you're worth and none of this None of this free time here and free time there, because they can't afford to lose you. So take advantage of the experience level that you have. That's a good point too about everything goes up in cost all the time, but some drivers, these guys that are working for Swift, they couldn't work for any less. So
Trucker Hershey comment in the DOT physical, they ask if you can fog a mirror.
Are you serious? Is that what they ask you? But yeah, it's getting to be that there's a health issue with drivers too, and they're starting to recognize that. But if you pay your guys peanuts, they can only afford to eat at McDonald's, and you work them like dogs, they don't have time for a sit-down decent meal. What do you expect? What do you think the long-term repercussions of that are going to be? So comes the reason. It's time for truck drivers to start leading better lives, more normal lives. We just can't be worked like dogs anymore. It's a good thing. These yeah, that's the guy's name. Buddy Gig, SoCal Sandman. Buddy Gig, Greg, something like that. It's the new Secretary of Transportation.
I'd like to put into the chat to find out if they're going to put the squeeze on truck drivers to be vaccinated. If anyone has heard anything, I'm curious to know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I heard initially that in the States, truck drivers were one of the priorities that they wanted to have vaccinated first. Here in Canada, they're not talking like that at all. But in the States, people recognized that, that truck drivers were an important thing and they should be among the first immunized.
Vic Squad with the 5. Thank you very much for that. I work local in Charleston. My truck makes $5,000 a week. Home every night. I work the ports.
Wow.
In our last video, you named the ports as being one of the niches to be in.
Yeah, there's a nice job. Thanks for the donation, Vic Squad. But yeah, you've got it made down there. That's what everybody should be doing. There are jobs like that out there. So.
Is that union work?
Yeah, there's a good question. There's a good question. I don't know, but it could even be with his own truck. But still, that's serious money.
Daniel de Blasio, I ordered a Happy Meal the other day because I was in a hurry. A Happy Meal now is at least $12 at Carl's Jr.
Wow.
Yikes.
Wow.
West Virginia, $3.79. I ain't taking any vaccines from the government. You and me both.
Well, I don't really want to get into that, but...
Yeah, I agree, Jamie.
Yeah, I'm not taking one. I'm not getting one either. So... I don't know if you guys caught on the news today the doctor in South Florida that got vaccinated and died.
No.
So and now they're going uh-oh. So it was Pfizer's vaccine, and the guy, young healthy guy.
No, not that healthy.
Yeah, and 2 days after he was vaccinated, developed symptoms, went straight to emerge because he knew it was serious, and he didn't pull through. Sad. So I hope we don't see any more of that.
Big Squad with another 5. Thank you very much for that. COVID has not hurt us as much. Love the channel. God bless.
Big Squad, thank you. Thank you for saying so. Glad you enjoy the channel and glad you follow us.
Well, we're hurting up here today. Us and Grilled Mortal, who's in the chat, and probably the Lettuce King too. We're not allowed to leave the building. We need to stay indoors. We can go to medical appointments, groceries, and pharmacies. Other than that, the fines, I believe, are between $3,000 and $5,000.
Yeah.
So we're housebound.
Yeah, in Ontario, everyone's under house arrest now. We
Yeah.
can only leave the house to go to the grocery store, a medical appointment, or go to work if we have a job that's allowed. Most businesses are shut down, but if your business hasn't been shut down, you're allowed to go to and from work, and that's it. No joyriding, no parties, no nothing. Don't leave home.
They
Don't
won't
leave home.
They won't even let me go through the drive-through at Starbucks.
That was Kathy's first concern this morning, whether Starbucks was going to be open and whether that was going to be considered a necessary trip.
I went anyway.
And what's really scaring us up here is that they've made the bylaw officers The bylaw officers are allowed to pass out these $1,000 tickets, and that's ask Gerald Mortal. That's a sad state of affairs when they give bylaw officers up here that kind of power. So that's enough to make me keep the car in the driveway right there, not getting a ticket from one of those yahoos. Oh. Yeah, some people die from eating peanuts. SoCal Sandman. Yeah, those allergies. In fact, we worked for a guy that was like that too.
A1 driver says, I live in Ontario and heard it's only between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. since there's a verified reason. No, that hasn't happened here yet, but we are on lockdown. Again, not allowed to leave the building except for those 3 reasons. So they are thinking about imposing a curfew, but they haven't yet, but that'll be coming.
Quebec imposed a curfew, and the first night the curfew was in effect, an older couple were out for a walk after 8 o'clock at night, and they got a $3,000 ticket just for being out going for a walk in Quebec. It's getting crazy out there. And they live together. They're not infecting anybody else. They're outside. They can't possibly hurt anybody else. But that was a $3,000 walk. Jeff says, hi, Dave from Moncton. Jeff, how are you? It's been a little while since I've been in Moncton. Nice town. Kind of out of the way of the hubbub and rat race of Ontario.
I read that, Grilled Mortal. They're closing 300 Starbucks. I wept when I read that.
Oh no, is that true? They're really closing 300 Starbucks?
Yep.
Where is that? Across Canada?
I think across Canada. In Ontario, I think.
In Ontario?
Well, yeah, but in Toronto, there's 2 on every block.
Yeah, that's true. There's drive down Yonge Street and you'll see one every 50 or 60 feet.
Yeah, they said nobody in Toronto is staying home. Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. We went through one of these lockdowns back in the spring, and it didn't work. Things only got worse anyway. So
what's going to happen in the spring in trucking in 2021?
I think the American economy will be up and rolling full speed ahead by the spring of 2021. I think that means a whole lot more jobs. I think that means a whole lot more opportunities for truck drivers. The supply chain's got to move. Everyone's sick of being all messed up from this COVID business, and they all just want to get back to work, run, and make money. So I think 2021 for trucking is going to be good because people will have had enough of this lockdown business and just want to get back to work. So I think there's going to be a lot of job opportunities. The American economy, I see rolling come by spring. They're already doing well now, but I think they're just going to take off in the spring, and that means lots of trucking. That's a good thing. The OTA has stated truck drivers are third on the list for vaccination. The OTA is the Ontario Trucking Association. That we're third on the list for vaccination, right behind first-line care workers and old people. But all the provinces now have run out of the vaccine, so I don't know if that's going to do us any good or not anyway. So they're all balled up here.
What you got, Trucker Hershey? Aaron, can you get away with a regional job with less than 12 months experience, say for 6 months, for example?
Sure, absolutely you can. And sometimes regional pays just as well or better, and you're home a whole lot more. So there's nothing wrong with regional work. It requires a certain patience level, but nothing wrong with it. At the end of the day, the object of the game is to pay the bills. So the more money you make for the less number of hours you have to put in, that's the game.
I have a question I'd like to throw out there. What about owner-operators? If you were a company driver and thought about being an owner-operator or getting into a lease, what would you advise folks? Because we get a lot of email folks saying, is this a good time to become an owner-operator? In what situation would it be a good idea, and what situation would it not be a good idea?
Right now, until the economy stabilizes itself, and that'll be at least most of 2021, I would not buy a new truck. I'd sit tight, wait for the economy to stabilize, make sure you know where the jobs are going to be and what the legislation's going to be. I would hold tight. I would hang on to a company job through 2021 until the economy stabilizes, and then in 2022 look to see where the opportunities are and then price the whole thing out, because the cost of everything is getting outrageous. Trucks now are running over $200,000 a piece. The fuel's going up, the insurance is going to go up. All those things will present new numbers for potential owner operators this year. So I'd let that all settle down before I'd invest. I'd stay with a company job. I would never, under any circumstances, go into a lease deal with a truck with a carrier, because you're just the bottom man on the rung. The carrier's going to make his money off of you no matter what, and sometimes you'll be left with a zero paycheck. Never lease a truck off a carrier. They're doing that to make money, and they're making money off their drivers. And I don't agree with that. If they can't make money off of hauling freight for their customers, they shouldn't be in business. They certainly shouldn't be making money off their drivers. That's a scam. That leasing thing is a scam. And something else I'd avoid are the load brokers. Load brokers are hard up for money because everything's changing, the market's changing, the customers are changing, and the load brokers will always keep money if they need it before they pay the truck. So no, I'd avoid load brokers like the plague in 2021. I'd avoid them anyway, but if you're an owner operator, I'd go after direct customers and weed myself off load brokers. Every once in a while you might have to use one. Every once in a while, you might even be better to run home empty than to trust a load broker you don't know.
What's the scoop right now on how companies are handling sanitizing trucks? I know when this was all happening back in the spring, are companies posting how they're handling cleaning the trucks between drivers?
No, they're not. For the most part,
Well,
that's gone out the window.
I was hoping to hear from them.
Yeah, but give us your input on what you guys are seeing out there. But it's kind of just fallen by the wayside because it's been too much of an inconvenience. Most carriers aren't doing that. Little Mike says the masks are useless. Yeah, I agree. Biden is a virus.
Nomadic Brit said, I survived the lease contract with Schneider Bulk, and now the truck is paid and I'm making really good money. That's good to hear.
That's good to hear. And if you could get away with it anywhere and survive, it would be someone like Schneider that at least is an honest carrier, that they don't need to cheat their people.
OTR Ogre, they might clean a truck out, but they only care if the office staff and the owners are getting sick. Well, I believe that.
Yeah, I believe that too. I believe that too.
A1 driver, cleaning trucks are up to the driver. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, and
they just don't care.
I'm sure they're cleaning them for free too. They're not getting paid while they're doing that. So.
Yeah, but there should be somebody to sanitize these properly.
There should be. They own the trucks, and yeah, if they're company trucks,
that's stupid.
Why do the drivers get to clean them?
Now that's smart. John Gaffney says I sanitize my own truck daily and there's no slip seating. But yeah, if it were me, I'd want to sanitize my own because then you know it's done.
And there's a big argument for
whether I was paid for it or not.
Well, and being assigned a steady truck and not to slip seat. If you just keep yourself in it and nobody else, the chances are it'll stay a whole lot better.
Yeah, but then you've got some mechanic getting into it too, so.
Yes, but you way lower your odds of getting sick from somebody else.
Well, you can't be too careful being a truck driver out there. They're exposed to a lot.
No, you can't. Something else I was thinking too the other day, and I'm reading that there are still customers out there that won't allow the truck drivers in the building to check the piece count, or won't allow them on the dock or to use the bathroom. I'd be saying, okay, good enough, and either drop in the trailer and leaving it there, or just turning around and taking the load back to the yard?
Or like the Lettuce King would do and put it in the Detroit River
Yes.
after he did the hokey pokey.
After he did the hokey pokey.
Vic Squad coming in with another 5. Thank you very much for that. Not union. Own 5 trucks, do local work, pulling to warehouses, run about 25 to 40 miles, pull loads out of port, and take the empties back
Ooh.
in.
That's a nice gig.
That is a nice gig. And thank you for the donation, Vic. But that is a good gig, boy. That's excellent.
And Troy Star's Trucking Vlogs with the 20. My friend, thank you very much for that. Good day, trucker. I learned a lot here.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for watching us and following us. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Wonder what it is that he learned.
All sorts of stuff. Fred says
Yeah,
the MTO.
yeah, we'd like to know what he learned.
Fred says the MTO scales in Sarnia are not on lockdown. Lights are off, but they're in there. Now those guys work in close proximity. I wonder why that's allowed. I'd love it. Well, I'm sure they're wearing masks if they're in there. Huh.
John Gaffney, I just bought stock in Purell.
That's a good idea. SoCal Sandman asks Daniel de Blasio a question. I bet you I know the answer to that. As far as I know, owner-operators at Landstar do book all their own loads.
SoCal Sandman, I think he's having a nap.
Who? Me? I'm not having a nap.
Read the chat.
Well, the Lettuce King. Where's the Lettuce King? He might be back underneath the truck with a wrench. It's hard to type on the computer when you're wrenching. My future better half, Mary Hanson, is listening. Mary, hello. Nice to meet you here after a fashion. Kelly's one of our favorite truck drivers, and we like his mom too. Yeah, 2021, keep your overheads down as much as possible. Good advice from the nomadic Brit. Keep your overhead down as much as possible. Good advice. Daniel Blasio says he's awake. She was talking to the Lettuce King. I got confused there too, Daniel, but she was talking with the Lettuce King. But I'm sure he's underneath the truck.
Big Squad coming in with another 5, killing it today. Depending on the warehouse, one round trip pays $250 to $350 around loadout and empty back to port. It's all drop and hook work. I have 20 chases, whatever that means.
Chassis. Boy, that's pretty nice. And did I see you were in Charleston down in there? That's a pretty area of the country to work too. So you got it made, Vic. You got it made. I hope you know that. I had to come down there. I could use a good job.
Hello?
Wonder if the Lettuce King knows the Tomato King. Grilled mortal. I don't recall him ever mentioning the Tomato King, but you never know. He knows a lot of people.
Some guy said when he was watching one of the Lettuce King videos the other day, put in the comments, he said, that guy is one cool cucumber.
He is.
And he is, too.
He is a cool
He doesn't get
cucumber.
rattled. He's just always in a good mood.
Although, except for that one time he hopped over the counter at Future
Yeah, but
Fast
they
Food.
deserved it.
They did deserve it. The hokey pokey. He's famous for the hokey pokey. That's when he snaps.
It's kind of like if you could picture the Tasmanian devil doing his thing.
That's a good description.
From the Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Yeah, that's a good description.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Penske's applying for a job with Vic now. No, doesn't sound like a bad deal.
Diane Perez has asked, are new hires required to take the backs? Oh my gosh, I hope not.
Huh. Good question. Not that we've heard.
No, they wouldn't do that. Well, they might try.
They might try to do that. Michael says he wants to hear the story of how Kathy and Dave met sometime. I don't think Kathy will let me tell that. It was romantic, though.
Oh.
It was romantic. Kathy
Next
still
question.
curses the day. Yeah, there's a place in Toronto called Tomato King. Lots of trucks. Yeah, they were in the food terminal down there too. We used to see them all the time. In 2021, you should invest in property if you have any extra money, because the truck is depreciating asset. Absolutely, but land is gold, and you can grow food on it. And with inflation increasing, it's a good investment. Yeah, they used to say that buy land, they're not making any more of it. Land has always been a good investment.
All right, Chad, it's about that time of day where we start winding things down now. If you guys want to toss a few more questions in the chat for Dave to answer, feel free to do so. And yeah, Dave, if you have anything else to add from there while we wait for our comments to come in, you want to tell us a little bit about what Friday's video is going to be? Friday's video, rather?
Go ahead, Kathy. Friday's video is kind of up in the air right now. We were going to do a...
I just recorded it this afternoon.
Oh, that video.
It's all coming back to the old man.
I'll be all right. We
It
Testing.
was only an hour before we started streaming.
Earth to Dave.
That's yeah.
Earth to Dave.
They work me too hard. I get confused.
Yes, an hour a week is too hard.
Yes.
I'll give you that.
It's a tough week.
I'm answering questions. I'm snap answering questions thrown at me by the viewers.
Okay, he has no idea. So our Friday video is going to be, we put a post up on the community tab, I believe that was yesterday now. We asked viewers, Dave, what's your opinion on blank? And we took that, and we took our just a handful of comments that we got off of that post, and basically we had Dave just kind of speed answer them cold off the cuff. We didn't let him read them beforehand, so it's a pretty funny video in that regard, just because he has to read these answers without any prior preparation. So be sure not to miss that Friday upload.
Their gut reaction.
Some of the answers had X-rated language, so we haven't quite decided what to do about that.
Yeah, they're
yet.
going to have to do some bleeping out.
Yeah, a fair bit of bleeping on a few of them.
Admiral Pearl Preet asked, how do I feel about Pacific trucks? Amazing trucks, very tough, used in the logging industry here in the West Coast. I've never driven one, love to drive one. They don't make them anymore, they just keep rebuilding them and rebuilding them and rebuilding them, and they last and last, and they work like dogs. You couldn't find a tougher truck anywhere. Great trucks. It's on my to-do list to drive one.
Dave, we have a donator from last week that, as we were turning off the stream, we didn't quite get to acknowledge. So if you would like to do so now.
Yes, Kyle Gentile donated to us last week, and I was off the stream before we caught that. So I would like to thank Kyle now for that. And I see he's here now, and he says, "Hey guys," we're saying, "Hey Kyle, appreciate it." Right back at you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Kyle, for the support.
Thank you, Kyle.
Sorry we missed you last week.
We were on a hair trigger there at the end. Daniel Meredith says, become a NASCAR driver hauler. Those guys make seriously good money. I think it's a pretty tough life through race season, but they make good money.
SoCal Sandman, I had a total knee replacement. The chap just moved, and I think he was having something else, another surgery coming up. Oh,
Shoulder
wow.
replacement
Shoulder
surgery.
replacement. Oh, my gosh.
Holy cow.
Somebody said it would be like RoboCop or Robo-Trucker.
That's a rather incredible pain level, I would imagine, SoCal Sandman.
That's what morphine is for.
Jeez, well, you can't be doing morphine and driving a truck. That's a tough haul. That's serious surgery.
So wait, why can't you do morphine and drive a truck?
I don't know. I think they have rules against that. But yeah,
Okay.
tough surgery. I hope you heal up well.
All right, chat, that'll do it for us for today. Thank you to you, the viewer, for coming out this afternoon and participating in this afternoon's conversation. We really appreciate the support. Thank you to everyone who donated, by the way. Let me bring up the list of everyone who did so I can acknowledge you guys. Vic Squad, Troy Stars, Kelly Patterson, Wildbeard Trucking, Robert Armstrong, and Jonathan Mestrel. Thank you to everyone who donated today. Once again, thank you guys for coming out and chewing the fat with us. And one more thing from Kathy here.
One more thing. We have some new style of videos coming out. YouTube Shorts. All videos under 1 minute. And you should find one if you're subscribed to the channel. Tomorrow in your inbox is the first one. And we'll be doing a series of these all under 1 minute.
If you guys are familiar with stories on social media, that's basically what those are. And Mike and Trixie, new member. Hey, thank you for joining the team. Hope you enjoy. And that'll do it for us for today. Dave, if you want to wrap us up from there.
I'd like to thank Mike and Trixie for joining. Glad to have you aboard. Everybody else, love chatting with you. Love talking to you. Always do. Makes my week. You guys stay safe out there. Keep the rubber side down. And we'll see you on the back haul. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.